Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong Chua. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, also best-selling author, and every single day I help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, we have another fascinating guest on the show. We interview celebrities, entrepreneurs, business CEOs, authors, and athletes and artists to find out their path to success, how they're able to overcome challenges and adversity, and of course, their keys to success. And today's guest is definitely somebody who could show us the way. He's paved the road to success for himself and also paved the road to success for a lot of his clients and lots of companies out there because of what he knows about websites. This guy's an absolute genius and an architect when it comes to website designs. He started off with what, $250 in his pocket with a startup and built that to a multi-million-dollar enterprise. And this guy absolutely knows what he's doing, helping over companies worldwide, building over 1,500 websites and generating just over 500,000 leads for his clients. And that's something all of us want, a website that can convert so that it could work for us while we're not looking at our websites all the time. So please welcome technology entrepreneur, international speaker, website expert, Mr. KODY Thompson.
Thank you, Fong. That's a big mouthful of an introduction, so I really appreciate it.
Well, people who have lots of success and is really good at helping others achieve success deserve a big mouthful, right? So first of all, thank you for being here. I know we're right across the world right now, so timelines are usually difficult, but I really appreciate you spending the time with us and sharing some of your tips and insight and golden nuggets. But first of all, website design is not something everybody gets out of school and goes, you know what, I want to do website designs because that's my passion. So how did you get into this industry? What was your path like?
I started as a graphic designer. Actually, I was doing branding, like logo work and just general marketing. I was always quite good at graphic design and just anything technology. And so when I finished school, I was doing that. And then once you start doing graphic design for people, they start to ask you if you could do their website. So it was kind of a bit of a natural transition from graphic design into web.
Now, I know lots of people think about websites like, oh, I'll just throw something out there and it doesn't matter. Nobody looks at it. Nobody really cares. How true is that? How important is a website for a company?
Well, I mean, you can grow great businesses without a website. Obviously, I've seen people do it with, landing pages and things like that. However, if you want to build something reputable, I mean, you just think about our own behavior. If you're going to go to a restaurant or you're going to stay at a hotel or you're going to do something like that, the first thing that you do is you check the reputation of the restaurant or the hotel. You check the photos. You want to get some information before you make a decision. Well, that's how buying works. That's what people do. So having a website, a good website that doesn't just it's not just a shiny brochure, but something that actually can capture people's contact details, allows you like an unfair advantage against the competition, because most people will land on a website and leave without doing anything. So if you have something on your website that allows you to pique the interest of the viewer, collect their contact details, then you can have a conversation offline with that person, and that allows you to convert a lot more people that land on your website. So yeah, I think it's very important for businesses these days. It really should be like a 24-hour salesperson in your business. So while you're sleeping, it's selling for you.
Now, for somebody who's just starting out and they go, okay, I have a website that I have to come up with. I need to start doing TikTok videos and Instagram and all this social media stuff, LinkedIn and whatnot. That's a lot of stuff for a person who's just starting out to really grasp their mind around. What would you say is the very first thing they need to do? Is the website? Is it getting an account on Instagram? What should they do first?
It's a great question. It really does depend on the business a little bit, because I think, like, for example, if you're a personal trainer, you could probably build a great business with an Instagram account and a landing page, for example. But if you're a builder and you don't have a website, you're not going to convince many people to let you build their house. So it really does depend a little bit on the business that you have. I will just say, I guess, when it comes to marketing, it can be so overwhelming. Like you said, there's gurus telling you to do all these different things. Like, you've got to do paid ads, you've got to build a funnel, you've got to be present on every single social media channel, and it can become very overwhelming. The way that I think about marketing is like a table. You want to have more than one leg on a table. If you have only one leg, like one marketing avenue in your business, then your business is unstable. So eventually you want to have multiple marketing channels to get, people to come and buy from you. But at the beginning, you just need one. You just need one way that you're generating leads into your business that works. And then over time, you build in other legs. So for me, in my business, I built my web development business to over $3 million a year in revenue. And I did it nearly entirely through partnership marketing. So working with creating relationships with business coaches who would promote our services. So that was what I felt comfortable doing. I was good at educating, good at speaking. So that was my strength. Whereas I've got other friends of mine who don't like speaking in public, and they're really great with building paid ad strategies. And so they build their businesses using Facebook ads. So it really depends on your skill set, your business. But I would just encourage you not to chase every single, shiny marketing idea. Instead, figure out what's a marketing strategy that works for you, and then just make sure you drive it home, and then add other legs to your table once you've got, one leg that's successfully working for your business.
Mhm. Now, something that's very common in your industry, the coaching industry, lots of the training industries and whatnot, is that when people start out, they tend to do a lot of free things. They'll either train people for free, do websites for free, just to get that traction, just to get those testimonials. But then there's another group of people who's like, wait a minute, this is what I do. Why am I giving it away for free? Have you done anything that was for free at the beginning? Do you still do things for free for people to generate more leads, to generate more hype, to get publicity and whatnot? Does the whole
For sure.
freemium model still work?
Yeah, look, I think you don't want to you want to find the balance of maintaining the value of your product. You don't want to devalue your time or your expertise by offering it for free everywhere. However, I would say if you create great systems in your business and you leverage technology, you can do things for free that others would charge for. Say, for example, if you're a web development agency and you offer like a free SEO audit. Now, just because you're offering that audit for free doesn't mean it needs to cost you much. If you're using like an outsourced team overseas, for example, you've got a great piece of technology that helps you generate the audit. It might take 10 minutes to create a customized report, but that 10 minutes might be at a $5 an hour pay rate. And so it costs you less than a few dollars to put together a free report. So others may charge $150 to do an in-depth SEO audit of a website. But if you're giving it away, it's only costing you less than $5 to generate that same report, then that's a pretty darn good lead magnet to kind of get somebody in the door, and not just get them in the door, but get them to realize there's a gap in their current reality that your business could fulfill. So I would just suggest find ways that you can offer something for free that others charge for, but you need to do it in a way that brings value and doesn't devalue, your product or service.
Mm-hmm. Now, something that you do is you're really good at creating logos for people as well, on top of websites. And I know there's a lot of people out there who spends hundreds and hundreds of dollars on creating that logo, and then also time, and they think about, well, how about this one, well, changing the color in this one, and that stunts them from actually progressing. How important is it for them to perfect a logo or even perfect their name versus a website?
Yeah, look, it's much less important than when you're starting out. I would focus on being good at what you do. I think that's the best marketing that you can have. I know as a graphic designer, when I started, once you land a few good clients and you do good work for them, it just snowballs from there. And it wouldn't have mattered what my name was, whether I was trading as my own personal name or I was trading as a business name. It wouldn't have made a difference really in terms of the reputation that I was building. I would say, however, though, once you want to build a larger business, it gets harder and harder to rebrand later. So I would suggest it is important, but it's not the thing that I would focus on when I'm initially starting out. But once you want to start building something substantial, you need to have a great logo. You need to have a logo that's trademarkable.
Mhm.
Because if you do want to sell your company one day, you need to have all of those things lined up, because that brand equity is very valuable to people that are looking to purchase companies. And if you don't have trademarks and licenses in place, it'll make it much more difficult to sell your business.
Mhm. Now, you mentioned before how you potentially offer things that are that other companies would charge a lot for that you will offer for free. That's your USP. But also, what differentiates you from other website companies? Because you're one of the best ones out there, and there's lots of people who use you. What sets you apart from all the rest?
Yeah, I think one of the big things was we just tried to design our model in a way that was going to be the most suitable for customers. Like I used to sell websites the way that everybody does, which is I would charge a large fee for the build of the website, and then I would build something custom for them every time. But the problem with that model is that you're focused on getting projects out the door as fast as you can because you make all your money, on the initial project. So about 7 years ago, I kind of stumbled upon a new business model. I'd built a website for a gym, and then another gym came to me and said, "Hey, I'd like a website like you did for that gym." And I quoted them the price. It was 10, 15 grand or something like that for the website. And they're like, "Well, we can't afford that. Could you just give us the same website that you built for the other gym?" And I thought, oh, okay, this might work. And so I said, oh, what if I sell you the website for $300, and then you pay me $99 a month, and I'll manage and maintain all of the software and everything for the website. They said, that sounds fantastic. And so that was how my website model was born. I started selling websites for less than $1,000, and then charging a fee for us to manage the websites for our clients. I sold 250 or so of those websites for gyms in the first 12 months of launching that new business model. And I realized it was just a much better way to support customers because unlike most web development agencies, our focus is not on winning new projects. Our focus is on the 1,000 clients that we already have, helping them to use their website as a sales tool. Like you said earlier, instead of a shiny brochure, we want our clients to actually use their website to generate leads and grow their business.
Mhm. How do you maintain your relationships with all your clients to keep them coming back to you or renewing or keeping that subscription going?
Yeah. I mean, you got to add value. So we run education webinars to help educate our clients. We have a dedicated team that answers their support requests. So when they ask us for help, we need to be there. We need to be there quickly. We need to be good at what we do, solve their website issues quickly. We need to have templates and tools that can be easily implemented onto their website. So when they've got a strategy to grow their business, we need to make it as fast as possible for us to help implement that strategy on their website. If you do those types of things, obviously we've got staff as well that are responsible for reaching out and connecting with our clients. If they've got a ticket that like a request that is not being done quickly enough, that there's channels for them to escalate their requests. So we have all those types of things in place to make sure that we're doing a great job at looking after their needs and their website requirements.
Mhm. Now, when it comes to building websites, building a business, you went from $250 all the way to multi-million. At what point did you go, wow, I made it? Or are you still getting to a point where you're still waiting to say that to yourself?
Well, to be honest, before I was running a business, I was a youth pastor and I'd made 30 grand a year. So the very first year I was in business, I made 110,000 and I already felt like I made it, because it was so much more than I'd ever earned in my life before. To be honest, nowadays, I just see all of the areas of my businesses that I want to improve. So I don't really get that sense of I've made it. I do sometimes, like I am reminded sometimes if, like, for example, we're doing a new building project in the Philippines at the moment. It's like a nearly $1 million building project over there for our staffing facility over there. And yeah, when you walk through that building, it's 1,200 square meters, so it's huge. When you walk through it, you have those types of moments where you're like, holy crap, this is actually I actually have a proper business, as opposed to the sitting in my office as a graphic designer, just doing flyer designs for people. So there are those moments where you kind of like pinch yourself and you're like, holy moly, this is a serious business. But to be honest, most of the time I've just focused on my 90-day action plan, the things that I got to get done in my company to move forward in the next 90 days.
Mhm. Now, what is there anybody in your life that's still saying, you know what, you should have stayed being a youth pastor?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I mean, to be honest, it took me a while because my faith is it's still very important to me. And when I first started my business, I felt conflicted a little bit because the reason I started my company was because I took on a volunteer role in a church and they had no money to pay me, but I was running their youth and leadership programs there. I knew that they would be able to pay me eventually. And so I started graphic designing just as a freelancer to kind of pay my own way.
Mhm.
And then when the business took off, I felt a little bit conflicted, to be honest, that I was, that I moved to the Gold Coast to take on this church role and now the business was taking off. So for a while there, I did have that conflict, wondering if I was doing the right thing. And there was people in my life that would have preferred me to, continue in my lane. But I guess for me, I just felt that, what I was doing with my business, that God was using me in a different way. And so I just had to embrace that new chapter of business in my life.
Mhm. Now, you've helped so many people become successful with their websites. You yourself have been very, very good at what you do. What are some of the most laughable or most common things that you hear when people talk about their websites or some of the problems that they have? Like, for
I mean,
instance, in IT, it's like, yeah, you just turn it off and turn it back on. So,
probably the thing that you would say over and over again is like, have you cleared your browser history? That would be like a common thing where like if there's an update on a website, like if you've updated WordPress and there's like an error that is showing on their website and you ask them, have you cleared your browser history? A lot of the time their browser's set to store certain things and that makes their website display funny. And so a lot of the times issues can be solved just by clearing your browser history. So that would be the equivalent of like, have you turned it on and off?
mhm,
So that, yeah, that's definitely something that happens regularly.
mhm. How about some of the most common no-nos that you see that's out there?
For websites,
Yeah.
um, common no-nos. One would just be like adding motion sliders at the top of websites. Like that's something that it's less common now, but everyone was asking for it for ages. Like they wanted sliding banners at the top of their site. And it was like proven a million times over that it was worse in terms of converting people into opportunities on their website. But it didn't matter what data you showed them. They just wanted the shiny slider at the top of the website. So there was so many projects over the years where I would be putting sliders on websites just because I was unable to convince the client that that it was not as beneficial for their website. So that's probably one of the common mistakes.
Mhm. What would be something that people must do to have on their websites that is like a no-brainer, aside from taking away the movable banner?
Well, you just got to have a clear positioning statement and call to action. So what I mean by a positioning statement is when someone lands on the website, we talk about the first panel on the website. You could call it a welcome panel, or sometimes in marketing, they call it above the fold, but it's like the most important real estate that you have on your website because it's what people see when they land there. And we call it a positioning statement. That's the text that people read when they land on your website. It's also the image that is associated with the text, and then the buttons or action items that are on that panel. And that's the most important thing because when someone lands on that panel, they need to know who you are, they need to know what you do and why you're different, and then they need to know what you want them to do next. And if they can't catch that on that first panel, you have literally like less than a second to convince people to stay on your website. There's been, studies done. There was one done at the Missouri University where they studied people landing on websites. They found it was like something like 0.05 of a second. It's like almost instantly when someone lands on the website, they make a judgment about you just from the graphics and that initial text that's on the page. So I would say that's the most important, that welcome panel. And ideally, you want some sort of action that people can put their contact details in and get connected with you straight away. We would in marketing call that a lead magnet, something that that they desire, that they can action right now, so that they can do that on the website before they leave. That's what we want, because most people will land on your website and they'll take off. Maybe they're comparing your business with several other businesses. So we want to make sure that we get that unfair advantage. If we get their contact details, it allows us to connect with them via SMS or email. And we can do things that our other competitors won't be able to do when it comes to marketing. And that's how we can put ourselves in a great position to win that business.
Now, that's kind of depressing for somebody who spends, let's say, thousands of dollars on a website to realize that people jump on their 0.5 seconds and they're off to some other website. And they're like, you didn't even click on another page or a different tab. So yeah, like, what would you say is the most attention grabbing image or positioning, or what's on that very first shot for people to see that would keep them longer than 0.5 of a second?
Faces actually is probably, when it comes to graphics, probably the thing that keeps people on the page. And now, I'm not saying every brand should have a face at the top just because it might not be relevant for the business, but just in terms of graphics that that connect with people, it's faces. If you have a person at the top of your page with their face, even if the face is looking at the screen, people are drawn to faces. So that's in terms of just a general graphic. That's one that we would suggest would be utilizing, some sort of personal image like that connects, in a human way to the person on the other side of the screen.
So if a person didn't want their own face on the website, would it still be recommended that they have, let's say, pictures of their clients or pictures of maybe generic photos out there that they can use of people having meetings and stuff like that too?
Totally, yeah. So like if you're a skin clinic, for example, and you help people with with beauty, you could have a beautiful like woman on the front there, and if she's looking at the camera, then it engages with people directly. And if it's someone who's beautiful, that your clients are going to be like, that's the type of skin that I want to have, then that connects with people straight away. Or if you're an accounting firm, on the other hand, you might have someone dressed in in professional attire, and they're sitting across the desk from you looking at the camera. It might not be, it could be an active photo, like it could be a staged photo, but if it has that sense of professionalism, then it can connect with people straight away. So I'm not saying that in every scenario, but certainly from building thousands and thousands of websites, probably the thing that captures people's attention the most is a face.
Now, you work with so many different types of people. Do you prefer people coming up to you with an idea, or do you rather them be a complete clean slate that's willing to go with whatever you tell them to go?
I personally like collaboration. So I enjoy it when people have some thoughts and ideas about what they want for their website. It is easier when they are going to trust you as an expert. Sometimes I'm sure you get this in the real estate space as well, that you get people that maybe have a little bit of knowledge, and a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous if they don't trust you as the expert. So I guess that's the only caveat I would say to that. I like it when people have their own ideas, but I also like it when they understand that we've built thousands of these websites, we know what works, and they're willing to kind of be open to our advice and guidance. So I guess that would be my ideal client.
How far do you go to convince them one way or another until you go, you know what, fine, this is what you get? And then potentially they might come back and go, hey, this isn't working. We're like, yeah, I told you so. So I told you moving banner is not going to work. But anyway, how far do you put before you kind of go, okay, this is what you want?
This is actually, it's a great question, because that's a big challenge in any, I'm sure, you've seen this in your own businesses before as well, but it is a challenge when you have other staff, because I would push back on clients quite a lot. And they would kind of take it from me, if I said, that's not a good idea, I don't think you should do that. But we have 70 staff in our web development company, and I'm not directly involved in every decision that gets made on a client's website. So sometimes we'll build a beautiful website and then I come back and see the site, 6 months down the track. And I'm like, why the heck has all of this stuff changed? And then I find out that the client has been requesting all kinds of changes to their website, which I don't always agree with. So I just try to educate my team on the best practices for websites, and I try to get them to push back as much as possible. But to be honest, once you've pushed back on a client, it ultimately it's their website. And so if they ask us to do things that we think is not a good idea, we will tell them. But if they're like, no, we want to proceed, then at that point, my team would just do the changes that they've asked for on their website. So to answer your question, I think I can push back a lot more, but because people will perhaps take it from me a little bit more, but from my staff, usually we can push back once. If they still want to, move ahead, then we'll usually execute the change that they've requested.
Mm-hmm. Now, being a website designer usually is those people who are quiet. They kind of stay in their own little group and they put their heads down, they design, and then they send it out. They don't like going out there and speak. But you're an international speaker. You speak on so many different stages. Was that transition easy? I'm like, well, you were a youth pastor, so you had that speaking ability before, but now you're speaking to businesses, CEOs, large enterprises. Like, how was that transition for you?
I mean, like you said, I was a youth pastor for many years. I probably had spoken, public spoken probably 1,000 times before I ever started running my own business. When I was a youth pastor, I was speaking probably 3 times a week, and that wasn't just to young people. I was speaking, at larger churches that have adults in the congregation as well. So I wasn't afraid of public speaking. And so when I got that opportunity in business, it was it was easy, because I'd done so many repetitions of speaking in public. I still get nervous, sometimes if it's an important event or I guess just generally I care about doing a good job at what I do. So I still get nervous because I want to help people and I want the whatever I'm speaking about, I want it to land well with the people that are there. But yeah, certainly what I was doing as a youth pastor prepared me well in terms of just giving me opportunities to speak lots of times in front of people.
uh, Designing websites, going out there to speak, working with like other entrepreneurs and businesses. You have creativity in order to do all those things. Is creativity a skill set that you were kind of born with, or did you hone those skill sets?
That's a good question. I think everyone has some, born with some sort of creativity. I think my, I guess, belief would be that it's our role to keep that creativity alive and to, encourage that creativity. Like I've got three beautiful kids. I've got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old. They love grabbing pencils and drawing. I think most children that I've met have those types of desires to do, craft activities, to make things, to use their imagination. I would imagine, from my little experience, parenting, that it's our job as parents to try to help them to never let go of that creativity. So certainly when I was a kid, I was like that. I loved to draw. And then as I got older, I just kept drawing. And then once I started just playing with it, I used to like photo edit my friends' photos. Like I would Photoshop off their eyebrows or cut their eyebrow off and turn it into a mustache or do stupid things like that. And so by the time I'd finished school, I was already very good at Photoshop. No one taught me. I just liked playing with the tool. And so when I went to university, I just remember my university lecturers asking me like, how did you do that on Photoshop? Because I just liked playing with software tools and making stuff. Yeah, I think everyone has that creativity. We just have to just nurture that creative side of us.
That your story there reminds me of this one. It's either an ad or a meme. I think it was an ad for a dental company where they had a person with their face there and they're smiling and they don't have one tooth. They also don't have one eyebrow. But then
Yeah.
and then the statement was, now you know how important dentists are because you didn't notice the missing eyebrow. I'm
Well,
like,
there you go.
that's pretty smart. Um, Throughout your journey, in order for you to be as successful as you are, I would assume that you surround yourself with other people who were able to guide you along, give you some tips and pointers here and there. What was some of the most important tips that you've gotten that made you go, oh, I didn't think about it that way, or oh, I knew that, but the way you said it just made me go, I got it.
Oh man, there's been so many people I've had conversations with. There's a friend of mine, you may have heard of him before. His name's Simon Bowen. He runs a company called the Models Method. And one of the things that Simon is a genius at is taking something complicated, and he draws models, he draws pictures to explain complicated things. And there's been times I've been having, challenges in business. I was having challenges with capacity, basically getting our website capacity up. We were selling about 30 websites a month, and we weren't able to keep up the delivery of those websites. And I was trying to find ways that I could streamline how I'd structured my my team. And one conversation with Simon, drawing some simple models, was able to help unlock some revelation around, oh, I just need to change how I've adjusted the team. And I just need to change, the responsibilities of these team leaders, and that will, solve the problem. So there's been so many little conversations like that with mentors over the years where they just see things, with a different perspective. So I would just encourage anyone listening to this to find people in your life that you can talk to that have a different perspective than you, because so often it's not like I was racking my brain trying to think of someone who gave me like a cool quote for you, but I can't think of any at the moment. But there's just been so many times where they'll just ask a question even that you hadn't asked. Like, you'll tell them a problem and then they'll ask you a question, and it's like the light switches on because they're looking at your problem with a different perspective. So I'm very, very grateful for all of I've got a number of people like Simon and others, mentors in my life, that they'll tell me the truth and they'll ask me difficult questions that really helps me move forward in my business.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now let's put you back on the world stage, and you have a couple minutes to share one message that you want everybody to remember KODY for. What would that message be?
You've got these big questions. What would I want them to remember me by? What would be the message? I mean, I think the message for me would be that, you were born for a purpose. You have a gift that has been given to you, to make an impact and make the world a better place. And so, trust that you've got something that the world needs, and use your creativity to find ways to, to get out there and make an impact in the world, whatever that looks like for you. I'd encourage people not to look at other people and model your success off them. But shows like this are great to inspire you to chase your own success, but they're not meant, I'm speaking hopefully for you here, but I imagine that it's not meant for you to replicate the success that someone else has had on this show, but to encourage you that there's opportunity for you to find your lane and what success looks like for you. So yeah, I just encourage people that there's something great inside of them, and the world needs it, and we need them to step up and to chase after it with everything they've got.
Great words to live by. Now, before I let you go, I know there's lots of websites and lots of stages that's waiting for you right now, but I got five quick questions for you. Give me the first thing that comes to mind. You're stranded on a deserted island. One food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence.
Lasagna.
Hollywood calls and goes, "Hey, KODY, we love your story. What an inspiration. Who would you cast to play you in a movie?"
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington shows up at your door and goes, "Hey, KODY, buddy, I got casted to play you. Let's have some fun. Let's go out." And you go, "Don't worry about this. I got the night all taken care of." What does that night look like to you?
Oh man. We just could get some food. I just love to hang out. He's my favorite actor, so I would just be asking him about all of the movies that he's done. That's pretty much it.
You're in the circus. What is one role that you would like to take over?
One role.
Whether
Ah,
it's the person
the
who's the lion
trapeze.
tamer to okay, trapeze.
Trapeze, yeah. I mean, obviously, if I'm good at it, if I'm Cody as I am right now, then the last thing that I want to do is trapeze. But if I'm in the circus and I'm good at it, then trapeze would be awesome.
Um, I assume you're a football soccer fan.
Yep.
What position do you play?
I played midfield.
And if you had an opportunity to bring in a fictional character to
Yeah.
be your teammate, who would that fictional character be and why?
It has to be Messi. He's the GOAT. So I'd want to play with the best.
Well, you got to go. I said fictional, so somebody who doesn't exist, a
Oh,
cartoon character or something like that. Who would
cartoon character. I mean, maybe the Flash, because he would you'd win every game. He would be unstoppable.
it'd be like 100-0 there all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a number from 1 to 5.
2.
1, 2. So if you had to compare success to ice skates, how is
Success to
success
ice
like
skate.
ice skates?
How is success like an ice skate? Well, success is like an ice skate because you can take it in many different directions. And it's more about the person who's got the ice skate on, and what skills that person has. They can take it in different directions. So there's lots of ice skates out there, but depending on who's wearing it, they get to be the ones to define success for them.
Nicely done. So that's how success is like ice skates.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. That was awesome. Any last words from you?
No, man, I just want to say thank you for the conversation. It's been great to get to know you a bit, and I hope that my story inspires some people to go out there and chase success for themselves.
Awesome. And what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
They can find us. My two companies are online, Lightning Sites. You can find it at lightningsites.com. And then my other company is called WorkPod, which helps people to build teams in the Philippines. You can find us at workpod.com, which is WRKPOD.com. So you can find us there. There's contact details and stuff for our company. So that's where you can find us.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Everybody, make sure if you need a website, make sure you connect with Cody here. Go to his site, ask him questions, fill in the forms and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure he'll get a wonderful converting website for you. And if not, just connect with him. I'm sure he has lots of great insights on other stuff as well. Again, he is Cody. My name is Fong Chuan. Until next time, today isn't the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.